Hello and welcome. This is Notibot ENG. Tonight, tensions in the Middle East are escalating as a standoff over Hormuz reaches a boiling point. The United States and Iran have been locked in a cycle of threats and retaliation, while ceasefire talks in Pakistan hang precariously in the balance. We'll bring you updates on these developing stories and explore their implications for global security. From Tel Aviv to Tehran, we'll break down the latest developments and what they mean for the future of the region. Let's get started with our news recap. The tense standoff between Iran and a U.S. naval fleet in the Strait of Hormuz is set to be revisited in diplomatic talks underway Monday. The Hormuz standoff has reignited, with tensions escalating between the U.S. and Iran in the region. According to reports, a U.S. Navy destroyer was intercepted by an Iranian naval vessel near the strategic Strait of Hormuz yesterday, sparking concerns about the safety of international shipping. The incident is believed to have occurred during a routine operation by the USS Cole, a U.S. destroyer that has been deployed to the region to deter Iran's military activities. The Iranian ship allegedly approached the American vessel and demanded it leave the area, but the crew refused. White House officials have confirmed that new talks are set to take place in Pakistan on Monday, with U.S. Special Envoy for Iran Brian Hook meeting with Pakistani Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi. The talks aim to resolve the crisis and prevent further escalation of tensions between the two nations. The Hormuz standoff has significant implications for global energy markets and international relations. The Strait of Hormuz is a vital shipping lane, and any disruption could have far-reaching consequences for the global economy. Iran's naval activities in the region have raised concerns about the safety of ships carrying oil from the Middle East to destinations around the world. The U.S. and Iran have a long history of tension over the region, with the U.S. imposing sanctions on Iran's energy sector in 2018. The situation has deteriorated further since then, with both sides engaging in a series of diplomatic spats and military posturing. With talks set to take place this week, all eyes are on Pakistan as it attempts to mediate between the two nations. As tensions between Israel and Iran continue to escalate, a devastating impact is being felt on the Israeli city of Tel Aviv. The recent war between Israel and Iran has left a significant impact on Tel Aviv, with over 1,000 homes rendered uninhabitable due to damage caused by Iranian missiles and drones. Israeli Channel 12 quoted Ramat Gan Mayor Ron Huldai as stating that more than 1,000 apartments in the city are no longer fit for living. The conflict began on February 28th and involved repeated missile and drone attacks on major Israeli cities in response to large-scale strikes on Iranian territory. Tel Aviv, Ramat Gan, and Bnei Brak were among the cities targeted, with dozens killed and injured, and extensive damage to homes, vehicles, and infrastructure reported. The war has resulted in significant economic losses for Israel, with an estimated cost of $17.5 billion over 40 days, excluding reconstruction costs. Israeli officials have filed claims with the Compensation Fund for direct property damage, with nearly 30,000 Israelis seeking compensation. The Finance Ministry estimates that overall compensation costs will reach 6.5 billion shekels. The ceasefire took effect on April 8th after talks between the U.S. and Iran failed to produce a final agreement. The war has significant implications for regional stability, with many countries closely watching the situation in the Middle East. As the region continues to navigate this complex conflict, it remains to be seen how the aftermath of the war will play out, particularly in terms of rebuilding and recovery efforts. As tensions escalate in the Middle East, a fragile ceasefire hangs in the balance amidst rising concerns about Iran's retaliation against the U.S. seizure of its ship. The situation in the Middle East continues to deteriorate as a ceasefire on hold, and talks between Iran and the U.S. appear uncertain at best. On Sunday, U.S. Marines took custody of an Iranian cargo ship that attempted to breach the American blockade on Iranian ports. This incident has heightened tensions between the two nations, with Iran threatening to retaliate against the U.S. According to reports from state media in Iran, Tehran has no plans to participate in new talks with the U.S., which were supposed to take place in Pakistan. The Fars and Tasnim news agencies had earlier cited anonymous sources as saying that the overall atmosphere for negotiations was not positive, and lifting the U.S. blockade was a key precondition. The development comes just days before the ceasefire in the region is set to expire. This has raised concerns about the potential for further violence. with at least 5,000 people killed across several countries so far in the Iran war. The numbers are staggering. Over 3,000 people have been killed in Iran, more than 2,290 in Lebanon, and 23 in Israel. The U.S. has taken a hardline stance, with President Donald Trump warning Iran that it would destroy every bridge and power plant in the country if Tehran rejected his terms. This kind of rhetoric is not new from Trump, who has continued to use threats throughout the conflict. The situation remains volatile, with many wondering what will happen next as the ceasefire teeters on the brink of collapse. Tensions in the Middle East escalate as Iran takes a firm stance against the United States over a dramatic maritime incident that has sparked international concern. Iran has condemned the U.S. as pirates after its naval vessel was seized in international waters off the coast of Iran by a U.S. warship and 2 Coast Guard cutters. The incident occurred on Tuesday, hours after U.S. President Donald Trump announced that he is sending his team to Islamabad for possible talks with Iranian officials. According to reports, the Iranian ship was boarded and seized by the U.S. naval vessel USNS Montfort Point while it was carrying a cargo of ammonium sulfate, a type of fertilizer. The U.S. Navy claimed that they had been acting under a United Nations Security Council resolution that allows for the seizure of ships suspected of violating international sanctions. Iran has denied any wrongdoing and accused the U.S. of engaging in piracy and violating Iranian territorial waters. Iranian officials have vowed to take action against the U.S. over the incident, but no further details on what this might entail were available at the time of our report. The seizure is the latest escalation in tensions between Iran and the U.S. following the withdrawal of the U.S. from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action (JCPOA) nuclear deal. The U.S. has been imposing sanctions on Iranian oil exports, which have had a significant impact on the country's economy. This incident raises concerns that the situation could spiral out of control, with potential consequences for regional stability and global energy markets. As tensions in the Middle East continue to escalate, a significant development has emerged in the ongoing conflict between Iran and the United States. According to President Donald Trump, U.S. forces have seized an Iranian-flagged cargo ship called the Tuska in the Gulf of Oman. The vessel allegedly attempted to breach a U.S. naval blockade and ignored repeated warnings from American authorities. After being intercepted by the Navy destroyer USS Spruance, the ship was disabled and boarded, with U.S. Marines now taking custody of it. The incident has sparked tensions between the U.S. and Iran, with Tehran accusing the U.S. of violating the ceasefire and engaging in maritime piracy. Iranian officials have warned that they will retaliate against the U.S. military unless their demands are met. The seizure of the Tuska comes as a fragile 2-week ceasefire is set to expire on Wednesday. The incident highlights the fragility of the current ceasefire, with both sides accusing each other of violations and disagreements over when to resume peace talks. Iran had declared the Strait of Hormuz completely open just 1 day before imposing an effective closure due to the U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports. The situation has been further complicated by Trump's comments on Truth Social, in which he threatened to knock out every single power plant and bridge in Iran if they don't accept the proposed deal. The U.S. Central Command has confirmed that American forces acted deliberate, professional, and proportional to ensure compliance with the ceasefire. However, the situation remains volatile, with both sides trading blame and accusations of aggression. The incident raises concerns about the potential for further escalation and the future of diplomacy between the two countries. That's all for today's news recap. We'll keep you updated on the latest developments in the Hormuz standoff, Middle East crisis, and Iran war. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to stay informed on these breaking stories, be sure to subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media. We'll bring you the latest updates as they happen. Until next time, good night.